Hello there! Today we are reading another series of stories by Usborn Farmyard Tales from the complete book of Farmyard Tales. Let's start reading now. And don't forget that there is a little yellow duck to find in every picture. Can you find it? Like this one. Pig gets stuck. This is Apple Tree Farm. This is Mrs. Boot, the farmer. She has two children called Poppy and Sam, and a dog called Rusty. On the farm, there are 6 pigs. The pigs live in a pen with a little house. The smallest pig is called Curly. It is time for breakfast. Mrs. Boot gives the pigs their breakfast. But Curly is so small, he does not get any. Curly is hungry. He looks for something else to eat in the pan. Then he finds a little gap under the wire. Curly is out. He squeezes through the gap under the wire. He is out in the farmyard. He meets lots of other animals in the farmyard. Which breakfast would he like to eat? Curly wants the hen's breakfast. He thinks the hen's breakfast looks good. He squeezes through the gap in the fence. Curly tries it. The hen's food is so good, he gobbles it all up. The hens are not pleased. Mrs. Boot sees Curly. Curly hears Mrs. Boot shouting at him. What are you doing in the hen run, Curly? He runs to the fence. He tries to squeeze through the gap. But he has eaten so much breakfast, he is too fat. Curly is stuck. Curly pushes and pushes, but he can't move. He is stuck in the fence. They all push. Mrs. Boot, Poppy, and Sam all push Curly. He squeals and squeals. His sides hurt. Curly is out. Then, with a grunt, Curly pops through the fence. "He's out! He's out!" shouts Sam. He is safe now. Mrs. Boot picks up Curly. "Poor little pig," she says, and she carries him back to the pig pen. Curly is happy. "Tomorrow you shall have lots of breakfast," she says. And Curly was never ever hungry again. The Naughty Sheep. This is Apple Tree Farm. This is Mrs. Boot, the farmer. She has 2 children called Poppy and Sam, and a dog called Rusty. On the farm, there are 7 sheep. The sheep live in a big field with a fence around it. One sheep has a black eye. She is called Woolly. Woolly is bored. Woolly stops eating and looks over the fence. "Grass," she says. "Nothing but grass. Boring." Woolly runs out of the gate. She runs out of the field into the farmyard. Then she runs through another gate into a garden. Woolly sees lots to eat in the garden. She tastes some of the flowers. "Very good," she says, "and much prettier than grass." Can you see where Woolly walked? She walks around the garden eating lots of the flowers. "I like flowers," she says. Mrs. Boot sees Woolly in the garden. "What are you doing in my garden?" she shouts. "You've eaten my flowers, you naughty sheep." Mrs. Boot is very cross. "It's the show today," she says. "I was going to pick my best flowers for it. Just look at them." It is time for the show. "Come on," says Poppy. "We must go now. The show starts soon. It's only just down the road." They all walk down the road. Woolly watches them go. She chews her flour and thinks, "I'd like to go to the show. Woolly goes to the show. Woolly runs down the road. Soon she comes to a big field with lots of people in it. Woolly goes into the ring. She pushes past the people and into the field. She stops by a man in a white coat. Mrs. Boot finds her. "What are you doing here, Woolly?" says Mrs. Boot. "She has just won a prize," says the man. Woolly is the winner. "This cup is for the best sheep," says the man. "Oh, that's lovely. Thank you," says Mrs. Boot. It is time to go home. "Come on, Woolly," says Mrs. Boot. "We'll take you back to your field, you naughty, clever sheep."